You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Tools are getting better. Output is getting worse.
Yeah.
Both are true.
Yeah, look, it's pretty much the defining paradox of software development right now. We're moving faster than ever, but we're breaking things on a fundamental level.
Right. Well, welcome to The Vocal Technologist. Pull up a chair. I've got heaps of research white papers, startup financials, and some design case studies sitting in front of me. And we are taking a proper look at this massive collision happening right now in product design.
And it really is a collision.
It is. Because AI is making production blisteringly fast. Just, light speed stuff. But at the exact same time, it's stripping away all the human logic, the taste, and the accessibility that actually make digital products work in the real world.
Yeah, the friction to build something has entirely vanished, but the guarantee that the thing you built is actually useful or even functional, well, that's vanished right along with it.
Exactly. So look, if you're a designer, a developer, a product manager, or frankly, just someone who uses digital tools to pay your bills, you need to care about this. We're moving into an era where how a thing is built matters far less than why it was built.
Yeah, that's the core of it.
If you don't suss out the difference, you're going to get left behind. I was looking through the financial reports in this stack, and I have to be honest, I thought someone was having a lend.
The numbers are a bit ridiculous, yeah.
They are. The sheer velocity and the valuations being thrown around for AI production tools, they just seem completely detached from reality.
You're talking about the rise of vibe coding.
I am.
Mm.
And I want you to walk me through the actual data on this, because my skepticism is just off the charts right now. I mean, we're seeing companies achieving scales of revenue that, they used to take thousands of people and decades of work.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering, but they are real. Let's look at this Swedish startup called Lovable.
Okay, lovable.
Right, so they're a platform dedicated to vibe coding, meaning a user they simply prompt the software into existence using natural language. No code, just vibes.
Just typing what they want.
Exactly. And they are reportedly raising $300 million at a $13.2 billion valuation.
Wait, $13.2 billion?
Yep.
And how many staff do they have running that? Because a $13 billion company is usually huge.
146 people.
Are you joking?
No, I mean it, 146. But they've surpassed 500 million in annualized revenue. The revenue per employee metric is just astronomical.
That is completely insane.
And it's not just them, right? They aren't an isolated case. There's Higgsfield, a video AI startup, and they're negotiating a raise at a $5 billion valuation.
Right.
They're generating 4.5 million video clips daily. And they just produced a full 95-minute AI feature film in 14 days.
14 days for a feature film. What did that cost?
Under 500 grand. Yeah. And then you have Meta quietly launching this app called Pocket, where you just generate and scroll these small AI-powered interactive games. They call them gizmos.
The gizmos. Right?
Yeah, you just type what you want to play, and the AI builds the game live while you wait.
Okay, but here's my genuine pushback on all of this.
Go for it.
Are we actually funding real, usable products that solve human problems? Or are we just funding the absolute fantasy of never having to write code again? Because, writing code and building a product, they're two very different disciplines.
Look, I'd argue it's both, which is exactly why the market is so chaotic right now. What we're really funding is a massive shift toward a discipline called design engineering.
Design engineering. Okay, untangle that for me.
So historically, software was like a relay race. You had a designer who made a static picture of the app in Figma or whatever. Then they handed that picture over to a front-end engineer who wrote the code to make it look like the picture. Then a back-end engineer built the databases to make it actually function. There was this huge gap between all those roles, full of friction, handoffs, and miscommunications.
And heaps of meetings. Just endless alignment meetings.
Endless. But vibe coding collapses that entire supply chain. When you write a prompt into one of these new agents, it bypasses the traditional staging.
It just skips it completely.
Pretty much. It translates your natural language directly into a front-end interface, provisions a back-end database on the fly, deploys it to a server, and hands you a live URL in minutes.
That's wild.
The gap between a designer and an engineer is just closing into a single role. One person can now own the full production line, from staring at an ambiguous problem to shipping a finished, working product.
I mean, it's like handing one person the architectural blueprints, a pile of bricks and a hard hat, and telling them to build the house by themselves by lunch.
That's a great way to look at it.
Sure, the robotic tools are doing the physical heavy lifting of laying the bricks. But the pressure on that one single person to actually know what a house is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
how the plumbing connects, and whether the roof will hold water, that pressure is immense.
That is the exact leverage point right there. The person who possesses the taste to judge the output and the decisiveness to ship it, they suddenly have outsized power.
Right.
The economic value of software is no longer in the typing of the code. The value is entirely in knowing what to build in the first place.
Right. So here's where it gets properly dodgy. Because when you remove that friction and you let an AI build the house by translating language directly to code without human oversight, things go wrong.
Oh, they go very wrong.
Yeah, and they fail in ways that are just weird.
They fail spectacularly, yeah, because AI lacks physical grounding. It does not possess a working model of reality.
I was reading about the National Design Studio and the research. They were tasked with redesigning 27,000 government websites. What actually happens when you unleash AI on a systemic scale like that?
You get absolute horrors, truly. They built and shipped unauthorized versions of highly sensitive sites like vote.gov.
No.
Yeah, because the AI was just pulling in standard web components from its training data, it loaded these government sites up with undisclosed commercial trackers.
So it's legally compromising the government.
Exactly. And it gets worse. They even shipped a government health website that featured an AI-generated image of a child with 6 toes.
A completely unforced error. Just a six-toed kid on an official health site.
Yeah. And it highlights this fundamental flaw in how these systems operate. They don't understand the reality of the world they are generating images or code for. They are statistical prediction engines, not reasoning engines.
There's an amazing stress test for this lack of reasoning. It's called the spaghetti table protocol. Have you seen this?
I have, and it perfectly isolates the problem.
Yeah. It's this 15-minute physical grounding test for AI design systems. So the prompt asks the AI to design a very specific dining table. It requires dry spaghetti for the legs, a heavy concrete slab for the tabletop, and a water-filled fishbowl resting on the concrete.
Which obviously is physically impossible.
Right. The dry spaghetti would instantly snap under the sheer weight of the concrete and the water. The table literally cannot exist in the real world.
No, it can't.
So researchers ran this prompt through the biggest models we have: GPT-4o, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Out of a possible 30 points across all the structural tests, the model scored an aggregate of just 4. They failed miserably.
The aggregate score is bad, but I actually find the specific mechanics of how Claude failed to be the most revealing part of the entire experiment.
Yes. This got a massive laugh out of me when I read it, because Claude actually read the prompt, and in its text response, it explicitly flagged that the table was physically impossible. It told the user that the spaghetti would break under the concrete. But then it went ahead and rendered the impossible image of the table anyway. Why does it do that? Why does it know it's wrong but build it anyway?
It's because you're dealing with a multimodal architecture that is fundamentally siloed. Claude is not one single brain. It's a cluster of different mathematical models working together.
Okay.
The part that reads your text prompt is a large language model. It understands the semantic relationships between the tokens for spaghetti, concrete, and breaking. It can deduce the physical impossibility based purely on text data. But the part that actually draws the image is a diffusion model.
And diffusion models don't know physics.
Not at all. A diffusion model starts with a frame of static noise, and it slowly denoises it, arranging pixels into a pattern that matches the mathematical signature of concrete and pasta.
Right, so it's just painting by numbers.
Exactly. The text engine knows the physics are impossible, but it just hands the work order over to the pixel generator, and the generator blindly paints the pattern. There is no central logical reasoning system saying, wait, stop, this makes no sense in the real world.
It is exactly like hiring a tradie who looks up at your house, tells you the roof is definitely going to collapse because the load-bearing wall is missing, and then cheerfully starts nailing the tin down anyway, like, should be right, mate. I'm just following the picture you showed me.
That is the ultimate danger of vibe coding right there.
Yeah.
If you don't have a human in the loop who actually understands physics or user experience or basic cybersecurity, the agent will just confidently build you a broken table or a secure government site that illegally tracks user data.
Look, if you're keen on untangling this kind of tech collision with us, just hit subscribe on whatever app you're listening on right now. Because if AI has no real-world logic and is just predicting patterns, we have to talk about what it does when it doesn't know the answer. Because it defaults to the mathematical average. And that is causing a massive crisis in branding. Which brings us to the part nobody is really talking about out loud.
We are seeing the rapid rise of blanding.
Blanding, with an L.
Right. Because these models are trained on massive internet-scale data sets, their fundamental nature is to seek the mean of all that data.
So if you ask an AI to design a professional corporate website, it gives you the most average, middle-of-the-road, unoffensive professional website ever created. It designs for the machine's statistical center, not for human distinctiveness.
Exactly. Brands are losing their personality. We're drowning in the sea of minimalist, system-friendly identities that prioritize digital scalability over actual character.
It's all starting to look the same.
It is. And psychological research consistently shows that distinctive, slightly idiosyncratic branding improves market recognition and emotional connection, but AI actively accelerates visual sameness.
And this hitting design agencies incredibly hard right now, isn't it? The reports show that clients are increasingly walking into agency pitches with AI-generated concepts that look visually finished.
Oh, it's happening constantly.
They're completely skipping the vital concept development phase.
Right.
A client will just hand over a prompt-generated interface and say, I want this, build it.
Which is an absolute nightmare for a product team. The concept phase is not about drawing pretty pictures. It's where you figure out the why. Figma's chief design officer, Loredana Crison, made a brilliant point about this.
What did she say?
She argued that AI must be used to enhance human creativity, not bypass it entirely. Great design comes from experimentation, making mistakes, and human judgment.
But I have to push back on that idealism a bit. If production is essentially becoming free-like, if anyone can vibe code an app before their morning coffee gets cold, and clients are bringing in their own polished mock-ups, what on earth are designers actually selling now?
It's a fair question.
If they aren't selling the execution, what is the product?
They are selling judgment, taste, and problem framing. The economic value has shifted entirely away from the execution of the artifact and moved into the structural thinking behind the work.
So it's not about writing the prompt, it's about building the rules the prompt follows.
Exactly that. AI designed to code workflows are getting incredibly advanced, but they require human guardrails. Development teams are now heavily using MCP.
Okay, slow down for a second because MCP gets thrown around a lot. What actually is a model context protocol in plain English?
Okay, think of an AI model like a brilliant brain trapped in a glass jar.
Right.
It knows a massive amount of general information, but it cannot see your specific computer, your files, or your company's proprietary data. MCP is essentially the nervous system you attach to that jar.
Ah, okay.
It's an open standard that securely connects the AI to your local environment, like your Figma design files or your code base. It gives the AI contextual awareness of what you are actually working on.
Right, I'm with you. So instead of just asking a generic AI to build a button, the MCP lets the AI look at your company's actual design system first.
Yes. Teams capture their design rules in simple markdown files and use installable skills to automate tasks. It speeds up production massively, but it completely falls over without structured design systems guiding it. You can't just let the AI run wild.
Because you need a human to say, no, this brand needs to feel chaotic, or this submit button needs to feel heavy. And AI doesn't know what heavy feels like. It just knows the mathematical hex code for a drop shadow.
Taste is the new currency. Design knowledge is transitioning from static PDF reference guides that humans read into executable rules that AI agents run. But a human still has to write those rules. You have to actively teach the AI your taste, or you just get blanding.
Taste is one thing. But to be fair to the broader discipline of design, it isn't just about what things look like or whether a brand is distinctive. Design is also about functional empathy. And AI models are fundamentally sociopaths. They do not possess empathy.
They don't. They really don't. Design is fundamentally about how a system accommodates the end user.
And this is where the invisible human craft comes in. Let's look at inclusive UX writing. Have you ever used a piece of software, you click the wrong thing, it throws an error message, and the language somehow makes you feel like an absolute idiot?
Oh, we all have. You get a harsh red box saying you entered the wrong password or invalid user action.
Yeah, it subtly blames the user for the system's failure to guide them properly. A lot of digital interfaces are built for this mythical, ideal user who never makes a mistake. But redesigning language to be non-judgmental reduces the cognitive load for everyone using the app. It's a digital version of the curb cut effect.
I love that analogy.
Right?
When city planners designed sidewalks with a physical curb cut for people using wheelchairs, they quickly realized it also helped people pushing prams, travelers with rolling luggage, people with bad knees.
Exactly. Fixing a friction point for the most vulnerable users improves the system for everyone. Thoughtful language makes users feel guided rather than judged. An AI agent vibe coding an app might default to the standard clinical error message because that's the statistical norm in its training data.
Yeah, the average.
Right, so it takes human empathy to step in and say, let's rewrite this so our user doesn't feel stressed out.
And that empathy extends far beyond just words on a screen. It applies to the deepest architectural levels of software engineering, too. Figma recently completed a massive engineering effort regarding accessibility that illustrates this perfectly. They built something called a synthetic mirror DOM.
This piece of engineering genuinely blew my mind. But to understand why it's so impressive, we need to untangle what a DOM actually is.
So DOM stands for Document Object Model. When you load a standard web page, your browser reads the HTML code and generates the DOM. It's basically an invisible hierarchical skeleton of the page. It maps out every single element, saying, here is a header, here is a paragraph, here is a button.
And that skeleton is crucial, because if you're a visually impaired user relying on a screen reader, that software cannot see the visual layout. It relies entirely on reading that invisible DOM tree to navigate the page.
Precisely. But Figma is an incredibly complex design tool. It doesn't use standard HTML web elements to draw its canvas. It uses its own custom rendering engine based on WebGL. It basically draws one giant, flat, interactive graphic on your screen to ensure performance is fast.
Which means it completely bypasses the browser's native DOM. So to a screen reader, Figma's design canvas is just a massive black hole. There is no skeleton to read.
It was completely inaccessible, so Figma's engineering team built an entirely hidden, spatially positioned system, a synthetic mirror DOM.
A shadow version.
Yeah, they built a shadow version of the entire canvas out of standard invisible web elements, and they synced it perfectly in real time with the visual WebGL canvas. It is entirely invisible to a sighted user, but it provides that crucial skeleton so screen readers can navigate the spatial relationships of the design.
But surely AI coding agents will just learn to automate accessibility too. People argue that AI will just run a script, find the missing alt text, and fix it instantly.
I would push back heavily on that assumption. An AI agent can only fix what it's programmed to perceive.
Right.
It can fix surface-level errors, sure. A system team using AI can set a quality floor. They can automate a checklist. But human care, empathy, and systems thinking, that sets the quality ceiling.
Because an AI might flag a missing text label on a button, but it wouldn't possess the contextual awareness to realize that the entire fundamental architecture of a WebGL canvas is invisible to a screen reader in the first place. AI optimizes for the explicit prompt it was given. It doesn't look for the invisible people left out of the prompt.
Exactly. A machine can write the code to draw the canvas blistering fast, but it takes a human looking at the broader context of how a visually impaired person interacts with software to realize a synthetic mirror DOM is even necessary. That is true product craft. It's rooted in care. AI does not care.
It really doesn't. AI gives us the power to build at light speed. You can vibe code an entire platform in an afternoon. But without human taste, human intentionality, and human care, we just end up building broken spaghetti tables and bland, soulless brands faster than ever before.
We're just scaling mediocrity and broken systems if we don't keep human judgment at the helm.
Which makes me wonder about where this is all heading. As software logic and visual design become total commodities, things you can just generate for free with a prompt, I reckon we're going to see a massive consumer backlash.
You think so?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if, in a few years, we see the digital equivalent of organic food labels. Consumers might start demanding AI-free certification on their digital products, treating human craftsmanship, friction, and even human error as a premium luxury good. We'll pay extra just to know a human cared enough to build it. If you want to catch more of these tech collisions with us on YouTube or Spotify, head over to vocaltechnologist.shu. Vocal Technologist, see you soon. That's .cyou.
Spoken Tech for your ears.